And we have got our special guest on the line all the way from the UK, I believe. Sam, do you want to give our intro?
Yeah, so Alexander Newberry is a London-based tutor who is the creator of Numberella World. Numberella World is an educational ecosystem built around making learning fun. Numberella World weaves together action-based escape rooms, learning software, and a series of adventure novels and motivational brain training books. Alexander has expanded Numberella into a successful product range that's now used worldwide in a range of learning environments, one including competitions for gifted students even. Numberella Deluxe Edition is the winner of the Academics' Choice Award, is recommended by the Good Toy Guide, and has twice been nominated for the ISTE Excellence in STEM Award. It's played in 13 countries worldwide and 46 US states. If this were also not impressive, they're also the creators of a charity album with the goal of educational charities each year. So, Alexander, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
And thank you also for waking up super early to chat with us. We really appreciate it.
I just had a little a baby a month ago, so the early mornings are not a huge not too bad, not too much of a surprise.
Well, it can be viewed two different ways, isn't it? You're available to get up because you're kind of used to that we may have just stolen away precious minutes from you, so we're very sorry about that. First of all, could you tell us a little bit about how Numberella World originally came about?
Yeah, Numberella World started off just as an idea of how to make tutoring sessions more fun. So it's a very basic concept. When you're working with someone one-on-one, you have to make lessons fun or they quickly get difficult, especially if you're working with kids who are not particularly keen on learning, you know, if they have learning difficulties or whatever, and psychologically they find the space difficult. So it's just about making that fun, and that started off with gamifying the class. So really just using dice was the first thing, and introducing chance into learning. And that was the original seed of the Numberella Deluxe game, which is where it all began. And it all grew out of that. The game started to involve these different functions, like you could steal someone's card, or you could hijack their question, or you could stop someone hijacking your question. So those ideas became characters, and over time it just seemed like a good idea to storify the characters and create a world. And so to give this make-believe potential for kids when they're learning, because I find that young kids all the way up to probably 11 or 12, if you give them this blanket of make-believe, they're just much happier in that space. So that's really how Numberella World came into being.
Yes, definitely. And upon Googling Numberella, I saw that you had an adventure-based escape room, which sounded awesome.
Really cool.
What other type of products do you have?
Yeah, well, the escape rooms are the place where Numberworld is being created, really. We do a new story each month, so it's really fun just to expand the world, build it out, if you like. In terms of other products, we've got motivational brain training books in maths and English, and then we've got the Numberella Deluxe game, which is a cards and dice product, which essentially it's a board game. So you roll a dice to trigger a question type, and then you answer the questions and earn money by playing it. And then we've got an online platform which sort of ties it all together. So if you play your physical game, you can earn ant coins playing that, but then you can enter how many ant coins you've earned into your league. And then, so if you're playing it at school, you could have all the kids involved in a league. And the final part is we can pipe questions via the Numberella app out to those kids. So you get an ecosystem where all of the elements of it are related to one kind of core scoring architecture. And the idea, as I sort of said earlier, is to make everything a part of this make-believe world, so that it doesn't feel like work, it feels like fun. And
I definitely think that this was something I could have benefited from when I was younger, being, not the greatest student. I think gamification in this kind of area is just such a wonderful thing.
well, it makes all the difference. Yeah, I've sort of walked the path from teaching with no gamification at all, and now I don't teach without gamification. And occasionally I sort of roll it back just to see how it would be if I didn't. In the spirit of kind of trying to be scientific about evolving systems of teaching. Okay, I'll try it. Does it work? Yes, it feels good, but how would it compare if I went back? That sort of thing. And yeah, I've concluded that certainly for a one-on-one environment, teaching without gamification is much worse. And I think in the classroom it's a slightly different challenge because you've got many more kids to look after. But if anything, that's the need is greater because entertaining 24 kids or whatever is that much harder than entertaining one. So yeah, I think it's the way forward for education for sure.
Yeah, and could you tell us a little bit about Moritz Bunk, Numberella World's illustrator?
Yeah, of course. So Moritz is a very good friend of mine, an old friend of mine. I've known him for 20 odd years. He's actually the brother of my housemate at university, Lucius Bunk. And yeah, so I got to know Moritz through that. And Moritz was, still is, a film production designer, and he was an animator originally. So he studied animation at university in Germany, and yeah, he's got a long story. He was out in Vancouver for a while working on films. Now he's based in Berlin, doing film production. And I just called him up, when I was conceiving the original Numberella game, because I wanted to get a character rather than just a graphic, and asked him to draw one. And yeah, so he was able to produce these fantastic figures based around the concepts and sketches I sent him and so on. And yeah, that's his story.
Well, it's fantastic that this friendship has now blossomed into this partnership as well with as a contributor. And also just moving along to, I believe you have the charity album. What is the story behind the charity album, and what can artists look to gain from being involved?
Sure. So the charity album came out of a serendipitous meeting at the World Teacher Prize. So I was there. I was invited by Vikas Pota, who at the time was the CEO of the World Teacher Prize. He was sort of running that as part of his role in GEMS Education, which is a very big international school education business. And they give £1 million to the sort of most deserving teacher each year, which is obviously an incredible thing to do. So I was there with Numberella on his invitation, and I just met the founder of IHF, Adnan Hussain, at a table. We were just both picked up a coffee, and it's one of those things where you're sort of walking around trying to find a place to drink it. And so we met and started talking. We played some Numberella together, and he said he thought this would be wonderful for his schools, which are in Bangladesh. They're all charity schools, so they provide education for the kids from slums who would otherwise just simply not get an education. So obviously it's an incredibly compelling mission that he has, and I really felt I'd like to help. And he invited me to Bangladesh to see the schools. So I went out there and donated a bunch of gear and books and games and so on to all of the schools. So anyway, I was sort of thinking, well, how can we create something ongoing to support IHF? And so I just had this idea of doing a charity album. My own background prior to coming into teaching was in the music industry. I was a singer, songwriter, member of 2 or 3 bands with some success over time, a couple of record deals and so on, but never to the point of turning it into a a way to support a family, shall we say. But so lots of connections, and so I got in touch with Rob Saunders from Deuce Music, who's again an old friend of mine. He and I worked together on the Fuse, which is my band back in the day. And so the idea is that you submit music, it goes on the charity album. Any spins that it generates, essentially revenue that it generates, goes to the charity. And obviously, from an artist perspective, you're getting quite a lot of visibility through the various Numberella platforms. And on the Bangladesh side, they've got a massive network of students who support the charity in one way or another. So Adnan's incredibly well connected. And so basically, you just get a lot of exposure. And I know from being, an up and coming artist for a long time, trying pretty hard to break through, that just getting any kind of positive PR that you can talk about, right? It's sort of, okay, how's my dream going? Well, this just happened. I was just on this record, and yeah, we've issued two records now, the 2019 and 2020 version, and the 2020 version was sort of a little bit better than the 2019 version. We got, I think, sort of over 40,000 plays on it now, and every artist got more than 1,000. So you get over this sort of, what's always a bit embarrassing on Spotify is that until you've had 1,000 plays, it looks like you've had no plays. It's like total anonymity. So I just think, that little leg up is quite valuable, because then if someone comes onto your page and they see you've got one song which has more than 1,000 plays, so it actually, has a statistic, that's the song that people will listen to. And so, of course, that, it's just that little bit better than having a song with no plays, because it's an invitation. Someone's like, oh, that song must be good because other people have listened to it. And so you can, it's a battle, for recognition in the music industry. Just to get anyone to listen is hard. So I think it's a good thing for an artist to be involved in, for sure. And to boot, we know that the combination of the albums thus far has paid for one child's education for a whole year, which is a pretty inspirational thing to be part of. So yeah, on all fronts, as an artist, you're doing a great thing. You're getting a benefit for your music. You're not really making, the artist doesn't make money as such, but I would hope that the combination of the exposure and the feel good factor and the story is, sort of makes it worth being involved in.
Of course, and it's so fantastic that you were able to tie in so many artists and media together. Obviously, you've got your Morris Bunk, who you collaborate with, and then you've also been able to bring musicians in, and then the overseas charitable organisations. That's just fantastic. But unfortunately, we are running out of time, so we do have to call it for today. But
yeah,
I want to tell everyone a bit about where we can find you online, maybe a bit about your Spotify page.
Yeah, of course. So I think the place to go is Numberella.club. That's the website. And on there you can find escape rooms. We're running an advent calendar right now, which is actually a way to you actually win some money. Every day we're doing a giveaway. It goes up by $1 a day. So you can take part in an online quiz and you can actually win. There's a little competition we're doing. If you'd like to get involved in the charity album, the best thing to do is to email your submission to alexander@numberellaworld.com. So just email your interest in an example of your song to be included. And the Numberella charity album, you can get on Spotify. Just put search Numberella charity album 2020 to hear the latest album. And of course, get in touch. Twitter, we're at Numberella World. And I think if you can get that far, you're in, and then we can deal with anything else from there.
Of course. Well, thank you so much again, Alexander. We really appreciate you waking up early, and hopefully you get another 20 minutes of sleep.
Yeah, it's the school run next, but no, look, thank you, Nicola and Sam. Really appreciate being on your show. fantastic work you're doing out there as well. And Viana said, we might do something else in the new year for part of the school broadcasting network. So
yeah, looking forward to
that.
You guys have planned for the next year as well.
Yes, exactly. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a great evening.